On the news tonight, impeachment trial ends and Battle Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru will know her fate on Friday when the Senate Select Committee tables its verdict on the impeachment trial on the floor of the House. The Senate will have a special sitting to consider the impeachment that could send Waiguru home or overrun the verdict of Kirinyaga MCS. Also tonight, David versus Goliath. David Kinyua, little-known MCA from Kirinyaga County, goes down history books as a brave commoner who shook the high and the mighty in his county. David of Kirinyaga was indeed up against the county's Goliath. The verdict will be out on Friday. Plus, Kiunjuri's new party. Former Agriculture CS Mwangi Kiunjuri has a new party. The Service Party is Kiunjuri's second love after GNU failed to get him to political canon. Will the party serve him right this time round? We interrogate here tonight. And schools reopen in headache. It is a logistical nightmare for Education CS George Magoha as he prepares for reopening of schools in September amid strict adherence to COVID-19 containment protocols. Limited infrastructure versus gigantic student populations make back to school sound like a mirage. We will tell you Magoha's plan tonight.
This is TV47 News Tonight with Abubakar Abdullahi.
Good evening. Anne Wairimu is our sign language interpreter. TV47 News Tonight begins right now. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha has announced that a maximum of 20 learners will sit in class if and when schools reopen in September. This is in a bid to observe the 1.5-meter rule in the fight against COVID-19. And as Andrin Kilemi now reports, social distancing in schools appears to be the minister's greatest headache.
Only 15 to 20 learners will be allowed to sit in a classroom upon resumption of schools in September 2020. This is according to Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha, who toured the Kikotech factory in Kitui County to assess the capacity to produce COVID-19 protective gears for school learners.
Been advised by the Minister of Health that a class should have between 15 and 20 children. And therefore, you know and I know and everybody knows in this country that is going to be a challenge. The more reason why we must make sure that the masks are made of good materials and that they are, that is going to be a challenge, but it will not stop us from moving forward.
Among the measures announced by Professor Magoha include thermoguns for temperature checks in all schools, at least 2 masks for every learner, COVID-19 testing for teachers, even as they are expected to report to schools 2 weeks prior to the date of reopening. The Ministry of Education has further indicated that there is need for reconstructing some schools in the country that were badly hit by floods.
Next week, some of my people will come to Kitui to physically inspect most of the primary schools. A reasonable sample, find out whether they have water containers and the capacity.
So far, the ministry has toured schools in Mount Kenya region, Western region, and Rift Valley region, and has ascertained that most schools in those areas have enough water storage facilities. This comes even as the most recent report from InfoTrack Research showed that 70% of Kenyans are against reopening of schools until the pandemic is contained. Andrin Kilemi reporting for TV47.
Elsewhere, the Senate will convene on Friday for a special House sitting to consider the Select Committee's report on the impeachment of Governor Anne Waiguru. The Cleophas Malala-led committee has completed its sittings this evening after interrogating both parties and has retreated to write its verdict. Waiguru, in a closing remark, has said and has insisted that the impeachment was out of malice just after the witnesses were pressured hard to prove their case.
Did you consult the CEC Health during these processes?
I can confirm, yes.
Are you aware that she was there where you were seated yesterday and she confirmed in evidence and on oath that she was never involved? Let's move on. Which velocity has executed this agreement? Velocity with this CITY or the other one?
To the best of my knowledge, with CTY.
Good.
I was not among the members who was putting the motion, so I still don't know how the members actually slept, given that there were ladies who were supporting the motion and there were still men who were still supporting the motion. And that actually raised a lot of eyebrows, because according to our African culture, something that is being done during the night, it doesn't merge well with our usual customs. We are used to be people of broad daylight. We deal with things when we can see each other, as long as those substantive issues are of common benefit to what the discourse is all about. I remember, no.
Were you there that night?
No. You need to understand that I said...
Listen, I'm asking you questions,
yes.
Not you asking.
Uh-huh.
Was there a minor within the precinct?
Was there
a minor within the precinct of the county assembly
on the late night? I didn't sleep in the county assembly during the night, so I cannot tell
adults,
who
yes?
Yes.
Good.
What?
Court order. You mentioned that there was a court order, yes?
Yes.
Were you privy to the content of the court order?
Yes.
Which court issued that order and in which case?
Which
court and in which case was the order issued from?
It was Justice Corril.
Yes. Do you know the number of the case? I remind you,
yes,
it is 123 of 2020, which I argued. Yes?
I think I need to confirm that with the correct petition.
I then put it 3. Do you know the content of that order?
Furnish me.
Do you know the content or you don't know the content? You are the one who was going to raise the issue, a point of order on the existence of an order.
There were conservatory orders which were...
Do you know the content? Are you privy to the content?
I only am privy to the orders which were issued.
Well, Waiguru's impeachment motion in the Senate turned out to be a tough interrogation session for Mutira Ward MCA David Kinyua. The MCA appeared to have been cornered with questions, but after a while, he got hold of it and soldiered on in defending the motion he authored against Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru. It was a biblical example of David versus Goliath. Joash Onsare reports.
Kinyua.
Yes, my name.
I will ask you questions and I just want it to be very brief. I just want a yes, no.
Chair, I would wish to seek for your intervention on this, since some of the answers that are being sought by the council, they are answers, they are questions you cannot give a yes or a no answer.
Those were the questions directed at Mutira Ward MCA David Kinyua by the Kirinyaga Governor defense lawyers during the trial of the impeachment motion against Waiguru in the Senate. David is the man behind the motion to impeach the governor.
Kinyua, please let us not waste time. The next question, the question I wanted to ask, and I just want you to focus on that question.
In the beginning of the motion, David appeared feeble. The questions were tough, and by the look of his facial expression, it was evident that he was on a hot seat. David was up against Goliath, or so it felt. David Kinyua was up against a governor, her husband Kimotho Waiganjo, who is a decorated constitutional lawyer, and 2 other lawyers with vast experience in litigations.
Okay, when was the vote made?
of June 2020.
David recollected himself to face the panel, proving he understood what the motion meant for the people of Kirinyaga County.
Bwana Kinyua, do you understand how the process of imprest works?
I understand very well.
So you know that you actually collect money. If you don't use it, you reimburse, you refund it.
Within a stipulated timeline.
Okay, and from where you sit, the governor has never refunded that money.
She has refunded some, actually, after this motion was tabled, Chair. And in fact, one of the receipts that is provided here, reimbursement was done on 17th of this month. Why are that? Therefore, translate, if there was no such a motion, the intention was to defraud the residents of Kirinyaga their funds.
With fear of contradiction, he stood strong to pursue the facts of the evidence against Governor Waiguru.
You acknowledge, even in your statement, the statement you wrote later, you actually talk about two separate contracts.
I actually talk of two separate contracts.
So do you now wish to withdraw your allegation in your motion that there was only one contract?
Chair, withdraw in the name of the company that was doing the work is one company that was paid 50 million. The withdrawal is that it is not one contract.
Thank you.
It is two contracts.
He believed the impeachment process was beyond reproach. After the questioning session, David is now left with hope that justice will be served by the Senate Select Committee.
Let justice be done and be seen to be done to the resident of Kirinyaga, since we are the representative and we are just conducting our oversight mandate. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa.
Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, Nyali Member of Parliament Mohammed Ali has vowed to revive the impeachment motion against Transport CS James Macharia over the standard gauge railway transit cargo directive. This comes a day after the motion flopped at the National Assembly for lack of evidence.
Requires that a proposed motion be accompanied by necessary evidence, including annexures or sworn testimonies in respect of the allegations.
The Nyali lawmakers vowed to revive his quest to impeach Transport CS James Macharia. This comes a day after the motion was dismissed at the National Assembly by Speaker Justin Muturi for lack of evidence. Ali insists Macharia has violated Article 10, Chapter 1, Section C of the Constitution by not undertaking public participation with leaders and stakeholders.
Nataka kusema ya kwamba 80% ya uchumi revenue collection ya bandari ya Mombasa haiendi kwa serikali, haiendi kwa mfuko wa serikali. 80% inaenda kwa mfuko ya watu wawili au watatu.
Macharia announced all cargo transported to Uganda, Rwanda and South Sudan will be transported through the SGR for clearance at the Naivasha Inland Container Depot effective 1st of June.
We are going to form a legal team also, whereby we are going to speak to lawyers to guide us and tell us what's the right way to take.
Hatuwezi kutisika sisi. Kwa sababu sisi ni jeshi ya Rais Kenyatta.
Wabunge wa kutoka eneo la Pwani tumekuwa vibaraka wa watu kwa muda mrefu. Ndio wanda saizi pia tumekuwa wasaliti wa watu wetu wenyewe ambao we are supposed to represent in parliament.
A series of demonstrations have been held in Mombasa County with the locals complaining loss of jobs as a result of the directive. Former Machakos Senator Johnston Muthama questioning the SGR funding.
Last week, ruled that the lack of transparency in the manner in which the SGR financing was negotiated was fatal and enforceably in Kenya. As such, the loan acquired by Kenya is an odious debt that must not be repaid in its current permutation.
The Court of Appeal on Friday determined that Kenya Railways Corporation, as the procuring entity of the standard gauge railway, faulted the procurement laws. Joash Onsare, TV47, Nairobi.
Quarter an hour past the hour, you're watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakar Abdullahi. Time for us to take a short break. But before we do that, let me go through some of your feedback. Senator Kijana Stephen Derry on Facebook says he's tuned. Joel Gitonga, tuned from Juja Farm. Peter Kabuda says he's watching as well. Caleb Mwai says he's watching. Time for us to take a short break. We still have a lot lined up for you. We'll be back after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Thank you for choosing to stay with us. Let's get to more news now. And as the world evolves every day, so does the planet. It's easier to move and travel from one country to another and explore different cultures, but you will often find foreign currencies in different denominations. These currencies are valueless until exchanged to local currency, and many are not in the know. But apart from banks and forex bureaus, where else can you exchange currency? Our reporter Mwangi Maina tells us more.
Along the streets of Kangemi Estate here in Nairobi, you will find these stands with different coins and notes in foreign currencies. And not only coins, but items made up of precious metals like brass. Most of them are run by young men and are strategically located by the roadside. We came to learn that these are unofficial forex bureaus. We caught up with one of the operators and had a sit down with him to learn more about this business.
With the world being a global village, you might find yourself with foreign currency, and probably you don't know where to take that currency apart from putting it in your house as souvenir. Like I have this dollar here with me. But do you know people here in Kenya have diversified means of making sure that you convert your foreign currency to local Kenyan shillings? This is Kangemi's Bureau de Change.
A lot of our ladies or our men and women, they normally work at least around like the here, Leshwa, Lavington, the Spring Valley, Westlands. The guys who or ladies who work at least for Indians, you know, for Wazungus, at the end of the day, I pay cash because there's no Kenyan cash, but I pay just $5, $100. You may receive even 10 customers. But depending on the cash they have come with, that's when you will know. Because customer may come with even just 1,000 per day, but the currency they're coming with, there's not worth. Or ishatolewa maybe from that country, kama 1,000 ya Kenya, ishatolewa. Sasa nakuja namwambia no, it can't work or it's already out of the market. So if a customer can come with only $1, I can give him, since it's only $1, you know. This is not $100, so I give him only 60 bob, so that when I take it to bureau, I can be given almost 80 bob.
With me here, I have 10 dirhams from the United Arab Emirates. How do you know the value of these 10 dirhams? And maybe probably previously you had not dealt with dirhams.
Okay, that's why I told you I normally check on online or even Facebook. But according to Forex, you have to check on daily, because today dirham was going by 23 bob each. So that's the time when you know you can give a customer either 18 bob or 20 shillings, so that if it's only 10 dirhams, so that's the time I'll decide how much will I get from that. There are so many guys where our ladies work, you know, either a lady or a child or even just a man can come to surprise the lady who is working in that house. And just because the guy knows the value of the item, either a necklace or or a earring, the guy may consider just not to give cash, but to give the item. But as long as you know what is a gold, the lady may bring me to tell me what is this.
And that is Kangemi's Bureau de Change. My name is Mwangi Maina.
Dollar since the name, you know.
Like how do you know that?
Thank you, Mwangi Maina, for that report. Elsewhere, former Agriculture CS Mwangi Kiunjuri has returned to politics with the proverbial bang, launching his political party, the Service Party of Kenya, today. And as Zainab Mohammed now reports, Kiunjuri's return has been received with love and criticism in equal measures.
When he was sacked from the Ministry of Agriculture by the President a few months ago, embattled former CS Mwangi Kiunjuri assured Kenyans of his return to politics in the near future.
I told you that I was going nowhere.
Kiunjuri now launching his new political party, dubbed the Service Party of Kenya. Speaking to journalists during the party launch, Kiunjuri assured his political nemesis that his party will not be a victim of intimidation, as it is here to bring change.
We are fully aware that this journey will not be smooth. There will be barriers and obstacles, and possibly even harassment to break our resolve. we want to assure our supporters that the freedoms of expression, association, and assembly are not only enshrined in Kenyan Constitution, but are birthrights for all of us to enjoy. We should enjoy them without intimidation.
However, Kiunjuri has received bashing from all over, among them being Jubilee Vice Chairman David Murathe, who equated the new party colours to those of a renowned margarine brand. The unveiling of the new party signalling the former CS political aspirations in the upcoming 2022 elections, many interpreting his move as a shot to inheriting the Mount Kenya Kingpin title after President Uhuru Kenyatta exits active politics. For TV47, I'm Zainab Mohammed.
Elsewhere, evangelical and Pentecostal groups of churches have presented their recommendations to the Interfaith Council on protocols to be observed in the case of resumption of religious activities. This comes a week after the Interfaith Council started collecting opinions from Kenyans. The recommendations will be subjected to discussions and approval by the Interfaith Council, which will later present a report to President through the Interior and Health Cabinet Secretaries, who are charged with the mandate of setting standards for the resumption of religious activities.
It was necessary that as alliances and different umbrella bodies that fall under the evangelical Pentecostals come together so that we can hear the heartbeat of the Interfaith Council and be able to add our voice in this consultative forum to what is being discussed and that which shall be considered as the proposed guidelines and protocols that shall be presented to His Excellency for consideration.
Remember, you are watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakar Abdullahi. You can be part of this broadcast. Send us a message on 22047. The hashtag to use is TV47 News Tonight. Your voice matters, so does your opinion. Be part of our discussions, our broadcast. Tell us of your feedback in as far as the stories aired are concerned. Elsewhere, a family in Bakisa village in Bungoma County is calling on the government to help them find the body of their kin who drowned at Nzoia River. The family claims Wamachali Simuyu drowned at Menje Bridge, which has claimed more lives in the area. Wanji Sostin reports.
This is the Mufunja Bridge in Webuye, Bungoma County. Along this bridge, Wamachali Simuyu lost his life. The family claims the body of the deceased has never retrieved 2 months later.
Mtoto wangu alianguka kwa maji. Amemaliza hapo ndani miezi 2. Ni si mtoto, ni mtu wa nyumba yake, ana mke, ana watoto. Lakini sijaona usaidizi wowote kutoka kwa serikali ule ambaye unaweza ukasaidia au nipate watu wa Red Cross ndipose tujue huyu mtoto ako wapi. Mikono mitupu, mzee wangu alikufa. Sasa nikiongea hivi nina jamii na mnajua maneno ya jamii huwezi kushughulika sana.
The family is now calling upon the county and national governments to intervene. Locals have been urging the authorities to renovate the Mufunja Bridge.
Hii ni miezi 2 ako kwa Rivanzoya. Ako kwa Rivanzoya hajapatikana paka saa hii. Watu wanakuja wakikula familia pesa wanaenda. Ati tunatafuta wanakula pesa wakienda. Paka waleo hajapatikana. Omwami Zakaria Parasa, ukipenda mimi kama Kongo inakulilia tukumbuke watu wa maeneo haya.
Vile mtoto alianguka ndani na Mufunja na ikaenda. Na hiyo ninamulilia na serikali pamoja wasaidie hiyo Mufunja isiwe vile iko hivyo. Hiyo Mufunja watusaidie ipita, hata sisi wa mama wa Kongwe tukipita kwa hiyo Mufunja itakuwa vizuri.
Lakini nataka kuambia familia ya ile ambayo imepoteza ule kijana kwamba pole. Lakini pia nishutumu county government. Tuko na emergency team kwa county government yenye mtu kama huyo haifai ichukue hata wiki moja, sababu watu wamesomea idara ya kuangalia watu ambao wamepotelea kwa maji wapate kwa urahisi.
The residents have condemned the county government of Bungoma for what they termed as neglecting the community on matters development. Wanji Sostin for TV47, Bungoma.
John Waluke was found guilty of 297 million shillings fraud is set to know his fate tomorrow. The MP is being remanded at Kileleshwa Police Station.
Sirisia Member of Parliament John Waluke will not have an easy night at the Kileleshwa Police Station cells. The night's cold is not the biggest worry for Waluke tonight though. The Member of Parliament alongside Grace Wakungu are set to receive judgment on a 297 million shillings fraud case in which both have been found guilty.
The accused confirmed the directorship of the third accused, that the three of them as directors made joint decision to bid for the supply of the maize at NCBP, and that each director was to source the maize before they could look for the bid bond.
That judgment will be delivered by Anti-Corruption Court Magistrate Elizabeth Juma on Thursday at the Milimani Law Courts. If the Member of Parliament will be sentenced to a jail term of more than 6 months, then he is likely to lose his position as a Member of Parliament. In other news, Police Constable Duncan Mandiwa, who is accused of killing 13-year-old Yasin Moyo in Huruma Estate, has been remanded at Capitol Hill Police Station until 8th June when his bail application ruling will be made. During the bail application hearing on Wednesday, the prosecution told the court that the suspect should not be granted bail since he had lied to the court that he had gone to seek medical services at Mbagathi Hospital after he started manifesting COVID-19-like symptoms, a claim that the hospital denied. Tracy Mokami, TV47.
Well, it's already half an hour past the hour. Time for us to take a short break. We still have a lot lined up for you. Remember, you're watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Let's get more news. Now, many African traditions have had to take a back seat as the country grapples with the contagious coronavirus pandemic. Although marriages have been happening in the most unusual way, ceremonies like dowry payments have become impossible, and many lovebirds have had to cancel their wedding plans. David Mudoka tells us the story of a couple that was meant to get married this August, but has had to put all the plans on hold since the dowry ceremony was bumped by COVID-19.
Now, with COVID-19 almost bringing everything in the country to a standstill, among them our very own local traditions brought to their knees, dowry negotiations are no exception. Now, for one Peter Katu and Wambui Kimondo, they were hoping to have been done with their dowry negotiations at this time and probably tie the knot sometimes in August. Whether that is said to happen, your guess is as good as mine. We meet Rachel Wambui Kimondo at her house in Umoja Phase 1, Nairobi. The digital online marketer and a small-scale farmer welcomes us into her house, and as soon as we are settled, she enlightens us on how COVID-19 has had a toll on her marriage preparations. It all started in December last year when her now betrothed Peter Katu proposed. The answer was in the affirmative, putting Katu's 4-year wait to an end, and soon afterwards, marriage plans gathered pace.
We went in Feb. That was introduction. In Kikuyu, we call it Kuhadaibi. So, I have accepted fully this man is marrying me. Nobody else should be accepted for this compound. So, we successfully did that.
All went well until the government in March this year reported a coronavirus patient zero. The news sent shockwaves and containment measures. Among them, cessations of movement and curfews took effect soon afterwards. This grinding to a halt the duo's marriage preparation, including dowry negotiations, otherwise known as Rurashio in the Kikuyu tradition, that was set to happen in mid-April at Karatina in Nyeri County.
Him and the family already had a date. They wanted to go home for the Rurashio. That was supposed to be on 25th April. But then COVID happened. At first we were devastated. We did not know what to do or not. Okay, it's something we've been praying about, something we were waiting for.
A couple of pre-wedding ceremonies would then culminate into a wedding that was set for August this year. Wambui lauds the government for its efforts in mitigating the spread of the novel coronavirus. However costly they have been to her plans, she hopes that better days are in the offing. In this case, the marriage bells sounded so near, yet so far away. David Mudoka, TV47.
Well, all right, the marriages and the weddings may have been punctured by COVID-19, but love wins, or does it? Moving on, at least 64 people have been arrested at the Chania roadblock trying to bribe their way across the roadblock. The suspects were heading to Muranga, Nyeri and Isiolo counties without travel permits as per the guidelines of the Ministry of Health. Muranga police boss Joseph Kinyua says the suspects will be arraigned at a Muranga court tomorrow.
Ambayo ni hile inajaribu kupea maofisa wetu ambayo wanahudumu katika kizuizi hiki kuwapea pesa ndio waweze kuenda sehemu zile wanataka kwenda. Sababu wengi wao wanaenda Nyeri, wanaenda Meru, wanaenda Isiolo, wanaenda Moyale.
Kutoka Kahawa nikiingia Thika nikakosea barabara nikapita hizo. Nikakosea tu kidogo. Alafu nilikuwaje ukashikwa? Sasa nikitoa barua noti ya 200 ikaanguka. Kanalia nampatia.
Elsewhere, the Senate will convene on Friday for a special House sitting to consider the Select Committee's report on the impeachment of Governor Anne Waiguru. The Cleophas Malala-led committee has completed its sittings this evening after interrogating both parties and has retreated to write its verdict. Waiguru, in her closing remarks, has insisted that the impeachment was out of malice just after the witnesses were pressed hard to prove their case.
Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka will convene the special sitting Friday to debate the report by the select committee that has been probing Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru's impeachment. After the hearings were ended this evening, the Malala-led committee will now retreat to prepare the report it will table in the House on Friday. The committee was told that the governor flouted procurement laws, a move she has continuously refuted.
Did you consult the CEC health during these processes?
I can confirm, yes.
Are you aware that she was there where you were seated yesterday and she confirmed in evidence and on oath that she was never involved? Let's move on. Which velocity has executed this agreement? Velocity with this CITY or the other one?
To the best of my knowledge, with CTY.
Good.
Waiguru is facing charges, among others, violation of procurement laws. Amongst other charges, though Waiguru denied all charges, Kefa Kariuki, one of the MCAs defending Waiguru, saying that she was not given any hearing before the motion.
No. Were you there that night?
No. You need to understand that I said...
Listen, I'm asking you questions,
yes.
Not you asking. Was there a minor within the precinct?
Was there
a minor within the precinct of the county assembly
I
on their
didn't
late night?
sleep in the county assembly during the night, so I cannot
they were
tell
adults,
who
yes?
slept. Yes.
Supply Chain Management Director in the county government, Joseph Kariles Otieno, was put to task during the hearings. Otieno dismissed claims by the MCAs that the county boss influenced the tender committees to award tenders to her allies.
Velocity.
Velocity. What is the spelling of that velocity?
Velocity with CITY at the end.
That was just a clerical error, correct? Let's proceed to the execution. Execution of the agreement. Who has executed that agreement?
County government of Kirinyaga and Velocity.
Yes? Which officer from the county government has executed it?
The accounting officer.
Which accounting officer? Which department?
Chief Officer, Finance, Economic Planning and ICT.
For purposes of clarification, Mr. Karilas, each department has its own accounting officer, correct?
To the best of my knowledge, Chair, that is not correct. We have only one.
I want to read out for you, and I want you to read section 46, subsection 2 of the Procurement Act.
23 MCAs out of the 3 MCAs voted in favor of the motion to remove Anne Waiguru. Elizabeth Mutiku, TV47 Nairobi.
Well, that fate will be known on Friday and we'll keep you posted. Time for us to take another short break. 40 minutes past the hour. I'll be back with sports news after this break. Welcome back. Let's get to the world of sports now. And the High Court in Mombasa has extended the duration of temporary orders, stopping all proceedings against Football Kenya Federation at the Sports Dispute Tribunal until further notice. The initial orders issued on Tuesday last week were set to lapse on June 29th, when the matter was to be mentioned before the court. However, the date has been changed after 11 persons, including judicial staff, tested positive for COVID-19. Elsewhere, on behalf of the entire team that made this production possible. Bye for now, but I leave you with the COVID-19 numbers of the day.
The coronavirus is spreading rapidly across the world, and currently there is no cure or vaccine against it. It spreads through tiny droplets when infected people speak, cough, or sneeze. These droplets can land on surfaces to be picked up by hands.